Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make her the cutest that I've ever seen. Give her two lips like roses and clover, and tell her that her lonely nights are over. Sandman, I'm so...
Dr. Samuel Lewis, January 22nd, 1979. Do you wish to give a statement regarding your former patient, Michael Myers?
My suggestion is termination. There's nothing to be gained from keeping evil alive. It needs to die.
Bring me a dream. Make her the cutest I've ever seen. Give her the word that I'm not a rover, and tell her that her lonely nights are over. Ooh, Salmon, I'm so alone. Don't have nobody to call my own. So please turn on your magic beam, Mr. Salmon, bring me a dream. Oh, Salmon, bring us a dream. Make her the cutest that I've ever seen. Give her two lips like roses and clover, and tell her that her lonely nights are over. Oh, Salmon, I'm so alone. Don't have nobody to call my own. So please turn on your magic beam, Mr. Salmon, bring me a dream. Hey, ha, hey, ha, hey, ha, hey, ha.
Okay, welcome everybody back to one of the best YouTube channels around. Of course, no, I'm just kidding. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do my Halloween 2018 review. Of course, this will be the full-on review and spoilers will be mentioned in the video, so if you have yet to see Halloween 2018, I 100% recommend you do not finish off watching this video. Go and do something else. Come on, please, don't spoil it for yourself. But no, I spoke about, I think 3 days ago, that I wanted, or why I didn't release my Halloween review was because I wanted to rewatch the film and gather my thoughts a bit more, and you guys were okay with that. You told me, look, rewatch the movie, you know, let it marinate in your brain for a while, and then come back strong with a spoiler-free, or a spoiler review, sorry, or an actual review, a full review. So here I am, and what we're going to talk about in this one is everything I think about the film, the good, the bad, and
even my prediction for the next movie,
if there will be one. So to begin off with the review, I want to talk about the intro, and it starts off with Dana and Aaron, and they're the two investigative journalists, or what we thought were actually investigative journalists, but turned out to be just podcasters, so doing something that a lot of people are doing nowadays. And they wanted to go to Smith's Grove Sanitarium to try have Michael react on their podcast, or not even on their podcast, in general, they want to record Michael's reaction to showing him the mask he wore while murdering Annie Brackett, Linda Vander Clock, is that it? I think so. Bob Sims, and back in 1978, and almost Laurie showed. So they wanted to bring that mask with them and see if they could get a reaction out of Michael. Now the doctor looking after Michael was okay with that, he allowed it, and once they pulled out the mask, obviously we seen from the trailer, everybody went crazy, and the one thing they wanted was for Michael to react to them, but he didn't react at all, and so Michael kind of sensed the mask was there, but he never really reacted. So then it kind of climaxes. The sounds get louder. Everybody's kind of getting all louder, and it's the screaming, they're doing like wolf sounds. It's all this weird stuff. It's getting pretty loud, and then it instantly cuts to the opening titles, and just very similar to what 1978 Halloween was. And instead of having a pumpkin that it zooms in on, it actually has a pumpkin that was kind of dead and rotten at the start, but as it goes through the opening titles and it talks about or mentions the directors, the cast, all that sort of thing, it kind of rebuilds itself and goes back to the way it was in its prime. And I thought it was pretty cool. It was a weird take on John Carpenter's opening theme. Or opening credit scene, sorry, or title scene, whatever you want to call that. Now, the bad for this review, there's not really much bad to talk about because I enjoyed it a lot. But I want to mention something I mentioned in my spoiler-free review too, and that was Dr. Loomis's voice. I feel like the actor or the voice actor they had to play Dr. Loomis was very bad. Not that he's a bad voice actor, but it didn't sound enough like him to really, I don't know, kind of, yeah, it irked me kind of weirdly. Because of course I hear a lot of different English accents. I'm from Ireland, so there's a lot of English people around here, and I definitely could tell that the accent of this English person was somewhat different from Loomis's, and like I said, it kind of irked me. Now, we end up meeting Alyson's boyfriend, and his name is Cameron. Now, Cameron has a weird thing where her dad and Alyson's dad were actually friends, and it turns out that Cameron's dad was Lonnie Elam, as you might remember from the first film. Now, you remember Lonnie was the kid who was kind of teasing and talking badly about Tommy Doyle and pushing him over on his pumpkin. That was Lonnie Elam, and Lonnie Elam kind of turned out to be not a bad guy, but a troublemaker. He sold drugs to Alyson's dad, and he done some stuff he probably shouldn't have done, and I guess they kind of painted it in that way that Lonnie Elam was a bad kid at the start, and he turned out to be a bad kid. And even Cameron turned out to be a bad kid too, I'm not going to lie, which you might find out later in the video. I'm not sure if I'm going to speak about that one or not, but Cameron, not a nice guy. Now, as for, if you remember my spoiler-free review, I spoke about something where I mentioned that Halloween 2018 pushed what was appropriate in film, and now that I can elaborate on that one, Hunter and his son were driving to the woods to do some hunting, I suppose, and they come across the bus broken down, and all the maniacs were loose, and kind of sort of like what happened with Smith's Grove Sanitarium in 1978's Halloween. Everyone was kind of outside just doing what they were normally doing, and the dad goes out to check on everything and make sure it's all okay, make sure everybody's okay, and the kid doesn't hear from his dad for a while, so he goes out and check, and he comes across Dr. Sartain, who ends up getting shot. The kid gets scared or spooked from Dr. Sartain and shoots him in the chest, or looks to be quite close to the heart too, so luckily he actually survived, and he played a major role in the film too, like I said in my spoiler-free review. But the kid goes back to the car, I think, to call the police, or no, he was starting up the car, I think he was trying to drive or something like that, and Michael had a kind of urban legend moment, and I'll speak on that one in a second. Let me just get a drink here. Michael had a real urban legend moment where Michael kind of appeared in the backseat of the car and brutally murdered the kid. I'm not sure what his name was, but he brutally murdered him, and more or less done something that a lot of horror movies don't usually do. So moving on, we have the Dana and Aaron death scene. We see in this kind of a bit of it in the trailer, and one thing I noticed from seeing the movie the second time is when Aaron was going into the convenience store, you can see through the window that Michael is actually murdering the mechanic. I never noticed that in the first viewing of the film, and it was very interesting actually. One thing I didn't notice, and when I seen it the second time I was like, oh okay, now we actually get to kind of see it, because we didn't in the first film. But anyway, Aaron goes looking for Dana, whatever her name is. She's in the bathroom. Michael comes in wearing his mechanic suit, drops the teeth over the stall, and tries to get to Dana. Damn it, I keep doing it. Dana, and then Aaron comes in. He's like, Michael? He's surprised to see him, and then they have their epic fight scene, and Aaron gets absolutely annihilated there. That was kind of hectic to watch. But yeah, that happened. So one thing I really liked about this film was the Mrs. Elrod reference. I liked that a lot, because I did enjoy the Mrs. Elrod part. I thought it was really interesting for Michael to break into someone's house and steal a weapon. You kind of know where it comes from. That's something I found to be very interesting. So with this film, of course, Michael goes into Mrs. Elrod's gardening shed at the back, and he picks up a hammer, walks into her house and bashes her with it. Now, he doesn't actually, it never shows her death scene on camera, but he does pick up the knife and And then he walks past the dead body and the camera follows him, so we do get to see her dead. And this is a part where a lot of people got kind of confused in the movie theatre over here in Ireland. I heard a lot of people saying, oh my god, is he going to kill the baby? Because at this point a baby does start crying, and no, Michael never killed the baby. I don't think they would really ever do that in a film like this. It would be a bold move to make, but Michael doesn't kill the kid, and the movie obviously goes on. Michael leaves the house and goes to get his next kill. Now, one thing I really liked was the Vicky death scene. The kid Vicky was babysitting, I can't think of the kid's name, but he was very funny. He made a lot of people laugh. Both times around, he did make a lot of people laugh. And Vicky died in a really weird way. Her boyfriend was there, but her boyfriend was very, very high, and obviously she was calling out for help as Michael came out of the closet door. She was going to see who was in there. Michael came out. She falls over, actually, trying to run out of the room. She slips with her socks being obviously very slippery, whatever that sort of situation is, and Michael stabs her in the back and kills her. Now, we don't see Dave die, Vicky's boyfriend. We never see him die, which is very weird. I thought we would have, but we didn't need to, because we see in his body the aftermath once Michael killed him. And the very interesting thing about that is Dave is essentially the new Bob. How Bob died is kind of in reverse. Michael killed Bob from the chest into the wall, and maybe with this one Dave he got the butcher knife through the back into the wall. So I don't know what made them decide to do that one, but that one was kind of cool. Maybe Michael's style of killing hasn't changed since the last film, or since obviously 1978. Now, Michael killed another character called Oscar, and I like this one because it was very funny. Oscar, obviously, he was drunk. He was outside some girl's back garden, Mrs. Elroy's back garden, I think it actually was, and he just made a move on Allyson, and my god, I feel terrible. I really don't want to be doing this right now. I so badly don't. I'm in a lot of pain. But Michael is trying to, I guess, scare Oscar. It's being very, be very creepy. And like I said, Oscar is out at Mrs. Elrod's back garden. And, or at least I think it was Mrs. Elrod. And it has one of the smart detected lights, so if someone's out there, the light will turn on. And it turned on, but you could barely see Michael, and I guess Oscar was kind of drunk, so we didn't notice him. But we could notice it was Michael, and then he went, the light went off, and then Michael was a bit closer. And at this point, Oscar was kind of saying, oh man, you're being a bit creepy now, you're being a bit sketchy, it's kind of strange. And then Michael ended up coming closer, and then hits him with a knife, or slits him with a knife. And Oscar runs and gets caught in the gate, and then is killed in a really brutal fucking way. If I'm going to be honest, and then Allyson comes across him, and then she understands what's going on in this situation. Now, what I think this next one we're going to talk about is Hawkins when he hits Michael with the car. I'm nearly sure this is a reference to Bennett Tramer, because I thought we were meant to have a reference to Bennett Tramer, but apart from this one, I don't know of any other kind of reference that we had. And upon finding Allyson, it was Officer Hawkins, Dr. Sartain, and they came across Michael. Now, they drive towards Michael and they ram into him with the car, similar like the second film did. And with this, Michael is what looks to be knocked out or dead. And Dr. Sartain is kind of angry. He doesn't want Michael to die. And Officer Hawkins is more really interested in killing Michael rather than sending him away again. But Dr. Sartain doesn't want Michael dead, and then he ends up killing Officer Hawkins with a scalpel, like Michael was doing in the second film. Now, what's really strange is with this, we kind of get the feeling that Dr. Sartain let Michael out. He was the reason that the crash happened in the first place, and Michael broke out. He wanted to see what Michael would be like in the wild, essentially. You know, he's been studying him for so long. He wanted to see what Michael would be like if he was let out into the free world. But he eventually puts on a mask and he says to Michael, so this is what it feels like to be a killer. And then Michael eventually kills him. And the weird thing about this is when Michael kills him, he lets Allyson go. He doesn't kill her. He doesn't necessarily like open the door and let her go. She escapes, but he prioritizes killing Dr. Sartain before he does Allyson, which is kind of strange. I would have thought Allyson would be the first one to go. So it kind of gives me a weird idea that there might be a connection between Michael and Allyson. No idea. But Dr. Sartain says something really interesting in this moment. and that was the notion of being a predator versus the fear of being the prey. And this is in regards to Laurie versus Michael. Maybe Michael, the reason he is still going after 40 years is he is afraid of being the prey, essentially. He is afraid of the tables turning and Laurie coming after him. But obviously, as we see in the film, that doesn't happen. Well, essentially it does, but Michael is the one who kind of comes for her first. And I really liked how Laurie had a miniature house in this too. A scene where Laurie is talking to her daughter Karen, we get to see a miniature version of the Myers home, kind of letting us know that Laurie's been she's been dealing with this her own way, and she's been very deep into the whole Michael Myers 1978 situation. You know, she's doing all this crazy stuff that I guess no one really would have expected her to be doing. Now, what I really like was, coming towards the climax of the film, there was a scene where Laurie actually was thrown off the balcony. So very similar to Michael was in the first film. Dr. Loomis shot him off the balcony. Laurie was thrown off, and Michael was looking down at Laurie at the bottom, and then it skips to a scene with Allyson coming to Laurie's house. And then it flashes back to Michael, noticing that Laurie is no longer there. So Laurie essentially disappeared the same way Michael did in the first film. Now, the ending comes, and this is where I find it very interesting. Let me take another sip of my water, actually. Man, that's good. Okay, so the ending. Did Michael actually die? So what happens is, at the bottom, in the basement, as we see in the basement from the trailers, Karen and Allyson are down there, and Karen looks and finds a gun. Now, Michael is trying to break open the door to get down there to them and kill them, and Karen sees a gun with the initials KS for Karen Strode. And it obviously takes her back to the moment when her mother was training her how to use the rifle and preparing her for this moment. She picks up the gun, aims it towards the door, and she starts screaming out that she can't do it. She's asking Laurie for help. She's saying, "Mom, help me, I can't do it, I'm not able to do it." And then Michael appears, obviously thinking that, look, this is my moment to shine. She's not going to be able to do it, so I can kill her now. But as soon as Michael pops out, she has a funny moment where she says, "Gotcha, bitch," and then she shoots him in what looks to be the neck or somewhere around the head or neck or shoulder area. And this scene, man, weirdly enough, when I seen this in the Irish premiere about 2 or 3 weeks ago, the crowd was crazy, man. It really was crazy, and everyone was kind of cheering and applauding that moment. But when I seen it, which is kind of like a normal crowd tonight, it was a very dry audience. I'm not gonna lie, it really was. It was a very dry audience. There was not many moments where people really reacted to a lot of the scenes, which I'm surprised about. But like I said, Karen shoots Michael, and then Laurie appears behind him. Her face comes out of darkness, and she says, "Happy Halloween, Michael," and then she begins to stab him. But this is weird. This is where Michael actually fights back again, and it's crazy because Michael is fucking like hitting her with frying pans and shit, and just, it's crazy for Michael to be shot in, I think, somewhere around the head, then to be stabbed by Laurie in the shoulder like he stabbed her, to be still hitting them and doing all this shit. It's crazy. And then Laurie hits him with a frying pan and knocks him down the stairs, and then Allyson and Karen end up running up the stairs, and Michael grabs him, but eventually Allyson fights back and starts stabbing him in the arm until he lets go and falls. He gets kicked down the stairs, But this is where they reveal the fact that it's not a cage down there. It's actually a trap set up for Michael, that if he ever comes back, if they get him down there, they can lock him down there. They can have really sharp bars going by so he can't get out. And then they turned on some sort of gas thing, and then they got a flare, lit the flare, dropped it down there, and the whole place went up in flames. Sort of like Halloween 2 with Dr. Loomis. And this one, man, it's interesting. This one's very interesting for me. I don't know. I don't think Michael died, and I'm going to be honest, I've said it before, I wish Michael would die so we could have the end to the franchise. But man, after seeing the movie, I really don't want it to be an end to the Halloween franchise. I do want it to be an end with Michael Myers, or at least if they introduce Michael Myers in a different way in another film, somewhat different from how Michael is in every other film, then maybe I'll be okay with that one. But I don't think Michael died, because at the end, there wasn't really much room for Michael to move around down there, and at the end it showed a lot of the basement and we couldn't really see Michael. Now of course you can pass it off by saying Michael was probably lying on the ground dead and he just wasn't in the shot. You could say that if you wanted to, yeah, you could. But I don't believe he died, I really don't. He could have easily found a way out. And also at the end, I felt like there was a kind of cool reference to Halloween 4 when Jamie and Rachel were picked up by the townsfolk. The truck came and picked up Allyson, Karen and Laurie, and they drove them off. But in the back was Laurie, Allyson, and Karen. But what was Allyson doing? She was holding the butcher knife that she used to cut Michael's arm, kind of giving me the idea that maybe Allyson is being turned or being kind of turned evil in some way. Oh my god, I'm so sick, and this Warriors is so fucking good. So okay, my idea for what could happen in the future. Oh my god, my microphone just fell over. Holy shit. For whatever reason, my microphone is just it's now lying on my lap. Let me readjust this and get this figured out. Hold on. Okay, I seem to have readjusted my microphone, but I'm going to end the video off here and just going to say my thoughts. I think if they do continue on with Halloween, they're more than likely going to go into the idea that someone else is going to be the killer. And if it doesn't include Michael Myers, then that's probably how it's going to go. But if it does, then maybe Michael survived the fire and somehow, I don't know, still looking for revenge. I don't know what the story could be, but I'm going to assume it's something like that. I'll make another video probably in a few days, a few weeks maybe, when everything kind of settles down, really talking about my theories for Halloween, if they could continue or if it's the end. See how that goes. But for now, I'm going to end this off because I'm dying, man. I'm dying with a sick cold. And it's so hard to record this video. It really is so hard. And the one thing is, I just finished recording a mini documentary type thing about Edward Gein, and man, I'm trying to like edit that one but do this one, and it's just, I got like 2 days off work and now I'm kind of just, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm juggling multiple videos rather than focusing on one. So I'm gonna end this one off here so I can sleep and hopefully rest a bit more before I go back to work. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment down below if you want to discuss Halloween. Since I'm going to be in bed just kind of resting for a while, I want to get into a couple conversations with a couple of you guys, as it's something I love doing. You all have a very interesting interesting opinion on Halloween. I always get different comments about different theories and different opinions, so it's always good to read them. Yeah, like I said, comment down below and we can discuss that one. Anyway, have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and happy motherfucking Halloween, okay? Happy Halloween.